Coming up, Alan Dershowitz on the recent Supreme Court decision. Former Democrat advisor close to quitting party. Alan Dershowitz on the Supreme Court decision on Trump blocking $2 billion in aid spending.
What did you make of the Supreme Court's reckoning, and in terms of style and substance?
Well, it was a very hastily written, not particularly thought through opinion, but it probably came to the right result. Its goal was to send a message to the Trump administration: wait, you can't do everything. We still have a system of checks and balances, and we're going to be reviewing things like this. You acted too hastily. Instead of saying ready, aim, fire, you did fire and then ready and aim. You cut much too quickly, not with a scalpel, but with a chainsaw.
Alan Dershowitz here gives a seminal analysis on the recent Supreme Court decision. His view, and I agree, is that the right decision was made and it sends the right message. I entirely believe that the president has the right to cut spending where the work has not been carried out that the money was allocated for. In this case, though, the work had been done, and so costs had been accrued in doing that work. Further than that, though, the Supreme Court sent a message effectively saying, hey, we're here, don't forget about that. This also puts to bed the Democrat argument that the Supreme Court's presidential immunity decision does not give the president carte blanche. He continues.
The lesson here is that our system of checks and balances is still operating. There are 5 justices of the Supreme Court, even including one who was appointed by Donald Trump, who will hold Donald Trump to account. That's the clear message. The specifics, look, Judge Alito had a point. Should a single district court judge be able to stop a policy of a president? Maybe it should require at least an appellate court decision. Maybe a single judge shouldn't do it. He has a point about that, but he doesn't have a point when he says that judges are irrelevant to this at all and the president can do anything he wants. That simply is not what Hamilton and Madison intended in the Federalist Papers.
The Supreme Court is a check and balance, and that is proper. Alito is incorrect in that the president does not have the ultimate power and the courts are irrelevant. This runs counter to founding fathers Hamilton and Madison. I continue to be amazed at how brilliant the founding fathers were in structuring the US Republic and Constitution, thinking of almost all aspects. Incredible, given that there was not a whole lot of precedents to work with as far as democratic nations were concerned, given scant history of democratic nations. I wish we had more of their intellect and ability in politics today. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share and subscribe. Dershowitz continues.
When you're reviewing an executive order, how else would it work?
Well, the courts can appoint a group of judges to sit in cases involving the whole country. Maybe you need some legislation to do that. But there's something that is unseemly about a single judge who, by the way, is shopped for and selected based on what litigants think the outcome will be. At least have a 3-court panel, at least have maybe 5 judges, maybe a multi-district panel, something like that, which would make the decision more legitimate. Right now,
the issue of single federal judges making decisions and where this federal judge has been shopped based on their politics is a significant issue, where you have activists seeking to block the smooth running of government simply because the government's doing what they don't want them to do. For example, say the decision to block spending billions of dollars for work not done is stopped by the president. A single activist judge could force this to be spent. The problem then is, even if a higher court deems the decision to be wrong at law, the money would have been irrevocably spent and there's no recourse to getting that money back. Then Frank Luntz talks about the response to Trump's speech.
The viewers really disliked. They saw it as performance art. They saw it as as a bad form of opposition. And they've been asking the Democrats now since the beginning of this administration, what is your alternative? As critical as I am of Trump's communication, the Democrats are much worse. That for them, there is no policy, there's only opposition. Obviously, I reach out to both parties in conversation in doing my job, and I hear nothing from the Democratic Party in communicating a coherent agenda, in communicating a coherent message. And in fact, what they decided to do with those paddles, what they decided to do with Congressman Green, was absolutely abhorrent to voters. What the public is looking for right now, they believe that Trump's agenda is correct. They want illegal immigration to stop. They want accountability in Washington. They want safe streets, safe neighborhoods. They agree with what he's doing, and they disagree with the Democrats in where they stand.
Voters didn't like the Democrats' behaviour during the speech. People are asking for the Democrats to give a policy response to Trump's agenda. The problem is the Democrats have no policy response other than the message of Trump bad. The Democrats are panicked in not knowing how to respond to Trump. The issue is entirely that. They're only responding to Trump. So that is reactive rather than being active and on the front foot, putting policy prescriptions for solving problems that then gives them a solid base from which to attack Trump's policies. As it is, there is no alternative vision or prescription. Ex-Clinton advisor Doug Schoen.
He said, quote, "It does not appear to me that the political party that I continue to belong to with increasing difficulty has any answers at all. It is as if the Democrats have gone beyond even Clinton campaign strategist James Carville's advice to stay silent and, quote, play possum. They have become trivial and almost irrelevant." So why do you remain a Democrat?
Well, it's a good question, John, and it remains one that it is in active review. I can say I'm not a Republican. I disagree with many of the policies that President Trump so articulately outlined and think he's gone too far. But that being said, my party is not doing what Bill Clinton did when the Gingrich Revolution came in 1994, which is to offer a set of alternatives that recognize the American people want.
Schoen is frustrated by the Democrats and also doesn't see them as presenting an alternative. His view is that the Democrats should be following the Clinton model for what happened when Gingrich did so well in the Contract with America midterms in 1994. That was to come up with a policy prescription of their own, but fully recognizing what the electorate wanted based on the election results. Schoen expands.
Any possible party switches from people like a Fetterman?
Well, I certainly think that is possible. If you look at what he's said and what he's done, it's clear he's uncomfortable in the Democratic Party, as frankly I am. I disagree with the Republicans on a lot of things. They go further than I would go. So I cling to my membership in the Democratic Party, but it's not the same party. It isn't, CJ said, the party of John F. Kennedy or Bill Clinton. Moderates are really not welcome. And I wish we could have the kind of discussion about issues that most of us want, that President Trump, I think, was inviting from the opposition, that is sadly absent. It's a woke, far-left party that I really have very little in common with.
Schoen says that the Democrats are not the party of JFK or Clinton. They are, in fact, a woke, far-left party that he has very little in common with. This is true of most Americans, which was the message sent in the presidential election. The problem is the Democrats aren't listening, and even if they were, the wrong people are actually in Congress. They're activists who are woke and far left and not the types to be driving reform. They are in fact digging in even more. Obama advisor David Axelrod on Gavin Newsom.
I highlighting it. What did you make of what Governor Newsom had to say?
Well, I think I made of it what most people will make of it, which is he read the I mean, he pretty much said it. He was impressed by how they weaponized the issue. If I were, here's my advice. If I were giving the governor advice, I'd say, you know, don't be so overt that people can see the wheels turning. The obvious question would be, well, you've been governor of California for 6 years. You were lieutenant governor for many years before that. When did you have this epiphany? Right. You know? And
here, Axelrod talks of the new Newsom position of being opposed to males participating in female sports, etc. He said Newsom shouldn't be so blatantly transparent. And here he is talking about Newsom beginning a campaign for the 2028 presidential elections. The simple fact is that Newsom realises that the political landscape will be very different, and that it would be electoral suicide to fight the campaign based on the far left woke principles that the Democrats in general are still pushing. But as well as a changed position, Newsom must build up a narrative as to how he came by this newfound position. What do you think about Dershowitz's analysis of the Supreme Court decision? Please let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.